Windows XP, codename Whistler. Windows XP predecessor. Windows XP lasted longer as Microsoft's flagship operating system than any other version of Windows. From October 25, 2001 to January 30, 2007, when it was succeeded by Windows Vista. The initial release was met with considerable criticism, particularly in the area of security, leading to the release of 3 major service packs. Service Pack 2 provided significant improvements and encouraged widespread adoption in XP among both home and business users. Windows XP minimum requirements. The minimum hardware requirements for Windows XP Home Edition are Pentium 233 MHz, processor or faster 300 MHz is recommended. At least 64 MB or RAM, 128 MB is recommended. At least 1.5 GB of available space on the hard disk, CD-ROM or DVD-ROM drive, keyboard and a Microsoft mouse or some other compatible pointing device, sound card, speakers or headphones. Windows 7, codename Vienna and Block Comp. Windows 7 predecessor. Windows 7 is a personal computer operating system that was produced by Microsoft as part of the Windows NT family of operating systems. Windows 7 was primarily intended to be an incremental upgrade to Microsoft Windows, intended to address with Windows Vista's poor critical reception while maintaining hardware and software compatibility. Windows 7 continued improvements on Windows Aero, the user interface introduced in Windows Vista, with addition of redesigned taskbar that allows application to be pinned to it and new window management features. Windows 7 minimum requirements. If you want to run Windows 7 on your PC, here's what it takes. 1 GHz or faster 32-bit processor, 1 GB RAM or 2 GB RAM, 16 GB available hard disk space or 20 GB, DirectX 9 graphics device with WDDM 1.0 or higher driver. Additional requirements to use certain features. Internet access. Fees may apply. Depending on resolution, video playback may require additional memory and advanced graphics hardware. Some games and programs might require a graphics card compatible with DirectX 10 or higher for optimal performance. For some Windows Media Center functionally, a TV tuner and additional hardware may be required. Windows Touch and tablet PCs require specific hardware. Home Group requires a network and PCs running Windows 7. DVD, CD, authoring requires a compatible optical drive. BitLocker requires Trusted Platform Module, TPM 1.2. BitLocker to go requires a USB flash drive. Windows XP mode requires an additional 1 GB of RAM and additional 15 GB of available hard disk space. Music and sound require audio output. Windows Server 2008 R2, codename Longhorn Server R2. Windows Server 2008 R2 is a server operating system produced by Microsoft. It is built on the same kernel used with the client-oriented Windows 7 and is the first 64-bit only server operating system released from Microsoft. A review guide published by the company receives several areas of improvement in R2. These include new virtualization capabilities, reduced power consumption, a new set of management tools, and new Active Directory capabilities such as Recycle Bin for deleted objects. Windows Server 2008 R2 Minimum Requirements. To run Server 2008 R2, your hardware must meet certain requirements to run it. It requires a 64-bit processor unless you're running on Itanium-based systems. Your processor must run on at least a 1.4 GHz frequency. It's recommended your processor is 2.0 GHz or faster for best performance. Server 2008 R2 minimum memory requirement is 512 MB RAM, but we recommend you run it on GB RAM or higher for it to run smooth. The least amount of available disk space you need to run it is 10 GB. For best performance, we suggest you 40 GB or more of disk space available for the system to run better. Also, you'll need your computer to have a DVD-ROM drive for the installation of Windows Server 2008 R2. The display requirements for this operating system is at least a Super Video Graphics Array 800 by 600 monitor or one with better resolution. To run the system, you'll need the basics. The keyboard and mouse are essential to run this operating system.